Haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Mem Dalid Amud Beis, 5 lines from the top. When one enters the Azara from Shar Nikanor, and he's walking westward, he approaches the Mizbeach, the outer Mizbeach. West of that, then is the Ulam, whereby he then enters from the Ulam into the Heichal. The Heichal is broken up to 2 different parts, the Kodesh and the Kodesh HaKadoshim. The Torah says, Gabe Yom Kippurim, V'chol Odom lo yeh b'oihel moyed. When the Kohen Gadol performs the burning of the Ketores, as well as the applications of the blood in the Kodesh Kadoshim, it is prohibited for anybody to be present in the Heichal. That's Midiaraisa. Also from the Torah, when there's the applications of the damim, of the blood in the Heichal, on the golden Mizbeach, as well as the burning of the Ketores in the Heichal, it also requires that the Heichal be vacant from everybody else, other Kohanim. Midi Rabbanon, the Rabbanon added that between the area of the Ulam and the Mizbeach, one also has to vacate when there's going to be the applications of the blood and the burning of the Ketores in the Heichal. What is the status of the Ulam itself? The Gemara will now explain that. But says the Gemara now, in regards to the Brisa that was quoted before, it stated that the Rabbanan made, again, a requirement to vacate the area between the Ulam and the Mizbeach when there's blood applications in the Heichal. So too, adds the Brisa, did they require there be vacating the area between the Ulam and the Mizbeach for certain what's called inner chatois. Says the Gemara, Omar Mar, quoting the Brisa, Kach Porshin Bishas Matan Por Koin Mashiach Upar Helam Dover Shel Tzibur Usiirei Avoidas Koichavim. Similarly, the Brisa adds, when there's certain inner chatois, when these offerings, you have to then make applications of the damim in, again, the inner Mizbeach, the golden Mizbeach, as well as sprinkle the dam and make the applications on the paroiches. Also, the area between the Ulam and the Mizbeach must be vacated. Minolon asked the Gemara, from where do we know? What's the source that the Heichal itself, that has to be evacuated midi araisa, whereby the Rabbanan added an enactment to vacate the area between the Ulam and the Mizbeach. Omer Rapidas Astio Kapora Miyom Kippurim. He said we have a Gezerah Shava, just like by Yom Kippurim. It states that when there is the blood applications in the Heichal, one must vacate the Heichal. So too, we learn over here that these blood applications in the Heichal also has to require vacancy from the Heichal, as we learn a Gezer Shava, Kapora, that the Kohen Gadol in Yom Kippurim, it states the word Kapora, V'chiper. So too, in regards to these 3 different karbonos, it also says the lashon of Kapora. Omer Rav Acha bar Ahavo, Shmamina, we can derive from here, from the very fact that Midrabanan, they required us to also make sure that there's vacancy, there's nobody in the area between the Heichal, between the Ulam and the Mizbeach, when there's blood applications in the Heichal. From here we can derive, he says, that there are Mailois Deoraisa, that which it says in Maseches Kelim, that there are various areas in the Beis HaMikdash that have higher stringencies of Kedusha. For example, the Ezras Nashim has less stringency than the Ezras Kohanim. The Ezras Kohanim has less stringency than the Heichal. Says the Gemara, therefore we can derive that this is the Raisa, the Hochi Gemari Lahu, and we also therefore have a Halacha Moshe Sinai tradition that this is so. The Isal Kedaich Dirabanan, and he proves it because if indeed that these levels of Kedusha in the Beis HaMikdash is only midirabanon, Maishna bein ha'ulam lamizbeach. Why would we say that we have to vacate the area between the ulam mizbeach midirabanon? Dilma mikru va'ayli. The reason is because the Chacham were concerned we might enter the heichal. So mikula azara nami nifreshu dilma mikru va'ayli. Then they should also require us to vacate the entire azara, because maybe we will then enter the heichal. And therefore, we can prove from here, he says, it must be that there are various levels of Kedusha midi-araisa, because if it's not so, if it's Dirabanan, then how can they make a requirement to vacate the area between the Heichal and the Ulam? They should also require us to vacate the area of the Azara. Gemara says, Bein ha'ulam lamizbeach kivan de lo mafsig midi lo minkra milsa. You have no proof from here. The reason why the Rabbanon said you have to vacate the area between the ulam and the mizbeach is because that does not have something that's discernible to prevent a person from walking from there into the heichal. So therefore, the Rabbanon made an enactment. You have to vacate. You can't be present in the area between the ulam and the mizbeach. However, the Azara, given the Ika Mizbech HaChitza and the Mafsik Minkra Milsa. But in regards to the Azara, there, since there's a Mizbeach in the middle, so a person would be aware that he's going to then come closer to the Heichal, and that will prevent him from walking further. So that's why the Rabbanan did not require the vacancy from the rest of the Azara. But there's no proof from here that the various levels of Kedusha are midiraisa. They could very well meet midirabanan, and the Rabban did not make an enactment in the areas of the other parts of the Azara. Omar Rava said, Shma Mina, we can derive also from here that Kedushas Ulam, Vehechal, Chada Milsahi, from the fact that the Rabbanan did make a Gezerah from, again, between the Ulam and the Mizbeach, it must be that the Ulam and the Heichal are one level of sanctity. Because if not, if there was not just one level of sanctity, it was two levels of sanctity, then it would be that there is a problem of making a Gzeir l'Gzeir, as the Gemara explains now. If you're going to say that the Ulam and the Heichal are two different levels of sanctity, Ulam gufei gzeira. That means that the heichal is deraisa and the ulam is only midirabanan. So the ulam itself would only already be an enactment derabanan that we have to vacate. Then how could we also require midirabanan to vacate the area between the ulam and the mizbeach? There will be a second gzeira. V'nikum v'nigzar gzeira l'gzeira would make a second enactment that we couldn't do. So therefore, it must be, the Gemara is suggesting, Rava says, that the ulam and the heichal are one sanctity. The Gemara rejects this, loy, because the ulam ubein ha'ulam mizbeach chad kedushi. That's all one sanctity, and that sanctity is dirabanan. Heichal v'ulam shtei kedushos, whereas the heichal and the ulam are two kedushos. Heichal is midiaraisa. The ulam and the area of the bein ha'ulam and mizbeach is one sanctity. That's midirabanan. So therefore, you have no proof, Rava, that it's all that Heichal and Ulam are one kedusha, because they're not. The Ulam and the Ulam Beina Ulam Shel Mizbech is one sanctity. The Gemara now brings the Mishnah. The Mishnah once it mentions that we're preceding the burning of the Ketares, the Mishnah then brings various differences between the bringing of the Ketares during the rest of the year versus bringing the Ketares on Yom Kippurim. Quotes the Mishnah, B'kol yoim haya choise b'shel kesef. During the rest of the year, the Kohen, he scoops the coals with a silver scoop, with a machta of kesef. My Taima asked the Gemara, why does it using a silver scoop during the rest of the year and not a golden one? HaTorah chosa al mamonin shel Yisrael. Answers the Gemara, because the Torah is chas on the mammon of Yisrael. Just as we saw in the beginning of the third parak by the kalpi. The Gemara also asks, why is the kalpi made out of wood? Why not make it out of silver or out of gold? The Gemara answers the same answer, because the Torah is chasa amamun shel Yisrael. Since it's unnecessary, therefore the Torah doesn't want to spend unnecessarily the funds of Klal Yisrael. So to over here, that's why indeed that is using the silver and not the golden one. In other words, since the silver one, whichever one we're going to scoop the coals off, is going to cause some of the silver to be taken, peeled off, to be eroded. So therefore, it's preferable to use the silver than the gold. Now the Gemara asks, which it says in the Mishnah of Ayom Chayse B'Shel Zov Bo Haya Machnis, but today on Yom Kippurim we do Chayse of the Zahav, and we then bring it into we have the Kohen Gadol use that machta of gold. My time, what's the reason why we don't take the silver and then pour it into the gold, as we do the rest of the year? Mishum chulshid the Kohen Gadol. We want to save the energy of the Kohen Gadol, and therefore not to make an excessive tircha, we then use just one machta. Because Yoim Bishel Arbo Kavin. Every day of the year, we use a machta that then can hold 4 kavin, and then he pours it into a machta of 3 kavin. So why that's in regards to the rest of the year. So the Gemara now points out Tana. That's in regards to the Tana Kama's opinion, but the Rabbi Yossi says that we pour a saw, which is 6 kavin, and into a machta of 3 kavin. So Gemara now says Tana. It's taught in the Braiso. Nispazer loy kav gecholim gemechabden laamo. The Braiso or the Mishnah says that when he pours from the machta of 4 kavin into the machta of 3 kavin, so there's 1 kav of coals that's going to then spread about on the floor. So it says mechabden la'amo, they'll push it and clean it into the amo, into the canal, to wash it away. That the kohanim should not get burned while they step onto the floor of the azara. Tani chada kav. One brisa says that there was 1 kav that was scattered about after pouring from one machta to another machta, which is what we're just saying now. Indeed, like the Rabbanan, if you have 4 kav from one machta poured into a machta of 3 kav, you're left with 1 kav scattered about. V'tanya idach, however, we have another brisa that says kavayim. There are 2 kav of coals that are scattered about. So Gemara asks, Bishlam ahach the tani kav rabbanon. That's very good according to this that we said there's 1 kav scattered about. That goes according to the Rabbanon, who say you start with a machta of 4, pouring into a machta of 3. You're left with 1 kav scattered about. Elo hach the tani kabayim mani. But the Brisa says that you have 2 kavin of coals scattered about. Who does that go like? Lo Rabbanan, not like the Rabbanan who said it's 1. But lo Rabbi Yossi, not like Rabbi Yossi who said that you take a saw which is 6 kavin and then put that into a machta of 3 kavin, whereby there'll be left over 3 kavin scattered about. This Brisa says 2. Rav Chizda answers, Rabbi Yishmael b'nosh Rabbi Yochanan ben Broikahi. It's the Tana that's not quoted in our Mishnah, a new Tana called Rabbi Yochanan ben Broika, Rabbi Yishmael ben Rabbi Yochanan ben Broika. The Tana Rabbi Yishmael ben Rabbi Yochanan ben Broika oimer b'shel kavayim haya machnis. He says that you're taking the just like the Rabbanan said, you're taking an original machta of 4, but you're pouring into a machta of 2. That's his shita that enters then the use to burn the ktaris with, and therefore there's a scattered about the remaining 2, and that's his shita. That brisa that was quoted is his shita. Rav Ashi Omar. Rav Ashi gives an alternative answer and explains how it could be that there's brisa saying that there's 2 kavin of coal scattered about. That doesn't lechara go not like the Rabbanan, not like Rabbi Yossi. Answer of Ashi, a different answer. Afilu teim Rabbi Yossi. You could say Rabbi Yossi. And again, Rabbi Yossi said you're taking a machta of a saw which is 6 kavin, and you're pouring into a machta of 3 kavin, whereby lechar you're left with 3 kavin. So why does this brisa say 2? How could it be like Rabbi Yossi? Explains the Gemara. V'achi kamar bekol yoim haya choyte b'shel saw midbaris. Every day you're going and taking a measurement of a saw which is 6 kavin of midbaris measurement, of the wilderness measurement. Umarel shloisha kavin yushalmiyos, and you're pouring into a machta of 3 kavin yushalmiyos, because the Yerushalmi conversion to the midbarios is that the 6 kavin of Midbarios equals 5 kavin of Yerushalmiyos. And therefore, when he pours it in, really he was pouring 5 kavin Yerushalmi onto the machtav, the 3 kavin of Yerushalmi, whereby he's left with 2 kavin Yerushalmis.